Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Apple has officially released iOS 18.3.2 to the general public. This is not a beta, this is an official update. Along with iOS 18.3.2, Apple has also released iPadOS 18.3.2, macOS Sequoia 15.3.2, tvOS 18.3.1, and visionOS 2.3.2. But in this video, we're going to be focusing on iOS 18.3.2, covering what's new, the bug fixes, security updates, and whether you should update your iPhone right now. Let's get right into it. Now, as you guys might already know, double point updates like 18.3.2 are almost always bug fixes and security patches. Apple doesn't really introduce new features in these updates. Those are typically saved for single point updates like 18.2, 18.3, or the soon to be released iOS 18.4. More on that later. So what exactly did Apple fix in this update? Well, Apple specifically mentioned that iOS 18.3.2 addresses an issue that may prevent playback for some streaming content. If you've been having trouble with Netflix, YouTube, or any other streaming app, this update might fix that issue. Personally, I haven't experienced any playback issues, but if you have, let me know in the comments if this update fixed it for you. Moving on. One of the main reasons to update to iOS 18.3.2 is the security patches that come with it. Apple security notes mention that this update fixes a serious WebKit vulnerability, which is the engine that powers Safari and other web browsers. So what does this fix? Apple states that maliciously crafted web content may have been able to break out of the web content sandbox, meaning hackers could have gained access to restricted parts of your device. This is actually a supplementary fix for a vulnerability that was originally blocked in iOS 17.2. Apple's aware that this exploit was used in sophisticated attacks on specific targeted individuals before iOS 17.2 was released. Now, the likelihood of this impacting everyday users is very small. This type of attack is usually aimed at high-profile individuals like celebrities or government officials, but it's still a good idea to stay up to date and keep your device secure. Now, if you don't use Apple Intelligence, you might want to double check your settings after updating. Recently, some users have reported that Apple Intelligence is being re-enabled by default after updating, even if they had turned it off before. Let me show you how to check. First up, open Settings. Then here, navigate to Apple Intelligence, and then toggle it off if you don't want it enabled. This has been happening with the past few updates, so it's something worth looking into if you previously disable it and you don't want to use it. Now, if you've been dealing with the annoying sticker bug where stickers disappear on your keyboard or you can't delete them off your keyboard, you might be in luck. Some users have reported that their keyboard stickers are now back. However, there's other users that have still reported problems. If this update fixes it for you, let me know in the comments. As with most double point updates, don't expect major bug fixes beyond what Apple specifically mentioned. If you've been dealing with other keyboard issues or notifications lagging or random apps crashing, those are unlikely to be fixed in this update. Those type of issues will likely be addressed in iOS 18.4, or you might even have to wait for something like iOS 18.4.1. Now, battery life is one of those things that typically doesn't change much with minor updates like this. If you're coming from iOS 18.3.1, you probably won't notice a big difference. Now, if you're coming from an older version like iOS 18.1 or 0.2, you might see some improvements, but they're not guaranteed. Let me know in the comments if you notice any major battery changes after updating. So, should you install iOS 18.3.2? I would say yes. Especially if you're experiencing streaming playback issues, this update might fix it. If you care about security updates, then this fixes an important WebKit exploit. And if you're already on iOS 18.3 or 18.3.1, there's really no reason to stay on an older version. You might want to wait though if you are running an older version like, iOS 18.2 or earlier, and everything is working fine. And maybe you also wait if you're waiting for iOS 18.4, which will include actual new features, and you don't want to update only to have to update again. Then maybe it's worth waiting. For me, I always err on the side of caution, especially when it comes to security patches, but everyone has their preferences and I'm just here to provide you with the information. Now, if you want to go ahead and update, navigate to Settings, then General, then Software Update, and here you'll see the update for iOS 18.3.2. And the release note says this update provides important bug fixes, security updates, and addresses an issue that may prevent playback from some streaming content. Just go ahead and tap on Update Now, and your phone will take care of the rest. The next big iOS update is iOS 18.4, which is currently in beta testing. Apple's expected to release iOS 18.4 to the public in early April. If Apple follows their usual pattern, we could see it as early as April 7th or 8th. And of course, WWDC 2025 is coming in June, where Apple will be announcing iOS 19 and dropping the first beta for developers. That pretty much wraps it up for what you need to know about iOS 18.3.2. Not the most exciting of updates, but it's always good to stay informed about bug fixes and security patches. Let me know in the comments, did you experience the streaming bug? Is it fixed for you? How's your battery life? Is it better after updating? Are you waiting for iOS 18.4 instead? If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe for more iOS updates, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the latest Apple news. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.